before I get out of here on this morning, going to work. I just want to share with you about the past. We got to get away from always focusing on the past. I know it can be hard sometimes, but the past is like trying to drive your car looking in the rearview mirror. Trying to drive your car looking in the rearview mirror. You have to understand, and I have to get an understanding that when we are trying to move forward in life, we can't keep looking in the rearview mirror, because you're building blocks, you're building a life, you're building a history, and you cannot erase history, because history is what makes you press towards better. History makes you press towards better. I'm going to tell you what touched my heart in coming on to speak on this for words of inspiration and encouragement this morning. Was I was reminded about during the time when I was very young then, doing legal advocacy. I had to have lots of judicial training. I had to know the court system and how everything worked with true billing and no billing, and just sitting with a lot of different judges that I had to work close with. And I was sitting in the office with one of the judges that a lot of my cases were in her courtroom. And we were talking, and she was asking me, just basically talking about ourselves and the case that was coming up. But she said something that stuck with me when I was telling her, as I was a single parent, and I'm going to school, I'm continuing my education, I'm working on my second degree, I'm going on and on and on. And she says to me, hold on a minute, Electra. Hold on 1 minute. You're talking about everything you're doing. Let's talk about the things you've already accomplished. Let's look at the impact that you are making in life right now. And you're doing it as a single parent. So I want you to share things with me in a manner that you don't sound like you're beating yourself up, because if you were in the conversation, you kind of would understand better what I'm trying to get to. She reminded me that you cannot move forward. Is this due to some of the things I was sharing with her? You cannot move forward in looking in your rearview mirror. When you drive in a car, you're going to crash if you're always looking in the rearview mirror and you trying to move forward. That was me back then. This is what I'm sharing with you today. Those of you who may feel like, man, I'm struggling, look like everything, the world is on top of me and everything is just out of order and chaotic, but you can make it. You just have to keep pushing forward. That vehicle of life is what you are driving. You got some hurts back there. You got some pains back there. You got some frustrations back there when you look in that rearview mirror. But when you think about it, guess what? Look how far you've moved away from those things. Look how that pain that was caused you at one time, it also ignited your growth, because here's the thing. As you continue to move forward in life, you realize that you're going to be faced with some things, but now because you've had that failure in your past, it's going to help you to grow. It's going to help you to handle situations differently. When people mistreat you, when people talk about you, when people walk out on you, when people try to treat you like you less than, you're going to look at that different, because you are no longer looking in that rearview mirror and feeling sorry and down on yourself. You know that you have grown from so many circumstances in life. And yes, people did hurt you badly. People did hurt you, had a deep hurt. People that walked out on you, it did frustrate you. It did make you feel some kind of way. But God say, I never left you. I never forsake you. In fact, in the midst of your troubles, I was growing you. And there are some things that we just going to have to grow up in. There are some things we just going to have to grow up in. And we do. We do. And sometimes consciously we're aware of it. And then sometimes things come about and remind us unconsciously. So here's the thing, what I'm saying. By working in the court system for many years, you know, communication, I learned, is powerful. How do you fight for individuals? How do you fight for them as a legal advocate, but you don't like to talk? You don't like to talk. You become those individuals, your client's voice. And you have to have a strong and a powerful voice. And when you're standing up for people. And my clients, I was their voice. Inside the courtroom, outside the courtroom, getting protective orders, sitting on task force. You have to talk. Communication is a gift. And this is what many people don't understand. Communication is a gift. You have so much up here in your knowledge base to utilize, to share with somebody else. Don't you know your testimonies help you to live, help you to inspire somebody else to live? That's why I love when I learned about chatter, when I was on the task force, when I worked with parents of murdered children. See, people can say you talk too much. People just say so many negative things, right? They take your positive and try to reverse it into negative. But don't let them. Don't let them. Because what it does is what you're trying to accomplish in any goal in life, you won't if you focus on the chatter. I got that terminology because it was used a lot on the task force. And there were detectives and police officers, the chief of police. I mean, different people were there on the task force. And you got to stay focused. And you got to know what you're doing. But you also know that you're there as a voice. And every voice at that table counts. See, a lot of times we get distracted in life because we forget and set aside our gifts and stop exercising our gifts because of the way somebody else feels about your gift. And see, that's why you want to make such an impact with your past that when people remember you, they remember that you did that thing that you like doing in order to help somebody else. And it doesn't have to be doing what I'm doing and others on this app do. Communicating, putting information out there. I'm a public speaker. And guess what? I love and I relish in communication. But I make sure that I lay things out before I took to any platform. Any platform. Don't ever waste what happened to you in your past and be ashamed of it, because that is the thing that caused you to grow. But you cannot continue to look in that rearview mirror, because that rearview mirror is going to stunt your growth. That rearview mirror is going to sometimes make you want to turn back. That rearview mirror is going to have you to crash if you're in a car. You can't drive a vehicle continuing to look from the rearview mirror. You got to look forward in life. You got to know that you know that you know who you are. I'm telling you, you got to know. Not me. You got to know. I got to know for myself like you got to know for yourself. And so even when I come on this app And people will throw something out there as I'm speaking and say the most negative thing and ugly thing. But I got to keep going because otherwise I defeat my purpose. My purpose is to give you words of inspiration and encouragement to keep going, to keep moving forward. You know why? Because I enjoy inspiring others. I have a testimony just like you. I have struggles just like you. And let me tell you something. When you're dealing with health issues, that is no joke. Because you can't even share that with some people because they'll take your pain and try to use it against you. I spoke maybe a couple of weeks ago about, protecting your pain. You got to protect your pain because some people will use it for their benefit. Because when you down, a lot of people want to kick you while you down. So you got to protect that pain so that people don't come along, the wrong people, and get a hold of it and use it for their benefit to hurt you. You got to secure your pain. And how you do that? Don't keep looking back in that rearview mirror. Don't keep looking back trying to get them friends that you call friends that walked out on you or whoever may have walked out on you. You can't do nothing about that. God evicted them, not you. God evicted them. See, we have to come to that realization. When your life is in his hands, let me tell you something. Ain't nobody can do to you. Nobody can touch you. They might think that they fighting you. See, but they really not. Because God has already surrounded you with his angels. He's already taken care. He's prepared you for the fight before you got to the fight. He has. See, that's the only reason why your enemy haven't killed you yet. Because God is shielding you. He is the one shielding you. That's like people, when you always looking at your past, don't you know how much that creates negativity? Because you can't see the good things that God has done past your past. The good things he's done, the things he brought you out of, the things he's delivered you from, the things he called you out of, the level he took you to. I spoke on forgiveness. Let me tell you something. Unforgiveness is a chain. Unforgiveness is a chain. That whatever's a part of your past, and there's some people you keep on worrying about and crying about and frustrated about the way they treated you. Let me tell you, you need to cut that chain. You need to loosen that chain and let that thing drop off of you. Because that's all unforgiveness is. Forgiveness is a gift for your tomorrow. That's what forgiveness is. It's a gift for your tomorrow because you cannot grow past your pain if you do not forgive. It's some people in my life I just did not want to forgive. God say I forgave you for some things. See, God, we all do something. Nobody's perfect. I forgave you for some things. I put that in your past. Put that in their past. Because the sad thing is all unforgiveness does. It keeps you looking back in the past. It keeps you reminiscing on the past. And there's nothing you can do about it because it's the past. Let that past go. And keep moving and keep building and keep smiling and keep growing. One brick at a time. One day at a time. You can make it. But you can't if you don't loosen those chains. Let unforgiveness drop off of you. All it is a chain that's holding you down, that's holding you back. It's your past holding you back. You might not like this, but I gotta say it because God put it on my heart to say it. Don't you know you can't just love those who love you? You gotta love your enemy. Love them anyway, despite how they treated you. Love them anyway. Not because I said it, because God said it. Because God is of love. Let God work on them people. There's nothing you can do with them, but he can. Pray for them. I've had to do that. Pray for them to prosper. Because when you pray for them to prosper, God gonna move them on out your path. You won't even know where they at. They will be like the wind. You don't know how it cometh, and you don't know how it go. Oh, you know, you don't even see them no more. They're not even in your pathway no more. But when you hold on to your past with this grip, you're going to forever carry that pain for 30 years that you should have let go of 30 years ago. Those individuals are going on about their business, doing whatever they do. But it's not your business how they feel about you. That's none of your business. That's none of my business. How somebody feel about me. Because I can't change no matter what I do. If somebody wants to feel a certain way about me, a certain way about you, you're not going to change that. Because they made up in their mind that is what they want. They want to dislike you. Some people just want to dislike you. Some people just want to hate you. Some people just want to see you at a lower level than them. Some people urge is for that. But it's your job to let go of those chains of unforgiveness because they're holding you down. And exercise in your gift of forgiveness and pray and ask God, give me strength. I want to forgive this person for what they done to me, for how they hurt me, for how they disrespected me, for how they slandered my name, you know, how they defamed me. You know what? God, you help me to do that because I can't do it on my own. I cannot do it on my own. And he will. But you got to go to him and ask him to help you because you just can't do it on your own. You cannot do it on your own. Love yourself. Love you. That's what you must do. Love you. Because when you can't get past your past, you are not loving yourself. I'll go back to Judge Baker when we were sitting in her office. And at that time, hey, it's a testimony to me now. I did not love myself like I should have been loving myself. All I knew is I got to make it for me and my daughter. I got to take care of my daughter. I got to make sure I raise my daughter right. I got to make sure I don't slip up. I don't make no errors. I don't fall off. I mean, that was in my mind. And I'm running from courtroom to courtroom because I got to meet clients that I have cases with, be it domestic violence or sexual assault. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to do this. I got to do this. I gotta represent these people. You know, I'm running around with folders. You know, I had a lot of energy back then. And I was running from courtroom to courtroom with my clients, making sure I was there. And at the end of the day, I would go get in my car and I would cry. Not because of that, but because I had a lot on my shoulder. I had a lot. People will talk against single parents. But I was a single parent, and I only had one child, but I still was a single parent. And I still had to, exactly, you're right, we got to show up. No matter what, every day, I had to show up. I had to show up for myself. I had to show up for my daughter. I had to show up to make sure that we had everything that we need. And on top of doing that, taking care of other people, fighting for the rights of other people, I still had myself to go. And I'm continuing my education. I had a lot on my plate. And I broke down in her office. I had never cried like that before. I'm telling y'all, I had never cried like that before because I was bottling everything up on the inside. The hurts, the pains, the rejection. That's why now, today, at 59 years of age, I'm cool with rejection. I'm cool with it. And we all, if if you're not at that point, if you think I'm never going to get to that point, you will get to that point where you are cool with rejection. And you will rise to any occasion that you need to rise to, because you know, I can't afford to fall because somebody is looking at me. And that's with everybody. Somebody is looking at you and how you moving daily, and they're finding strength. And some people are looking at you from afar, and you are inspiring their lives to keep going. You, not just me, you, all of us. Because guess what? No matter what you do, somebody want to be just like you. That's a fact. We have a whole generation coming behind us. And some of them going to want to be like somebody else. That's a fact. And that's why it's so important that we don't allow our past to have a hold on us that we can't get ourselves out of. You rise up this morning and you do what you got to do. And you keep going. And the only reason that I sit today with the education that I have, I'm not going to say I didn't have struggles. And I stopped at my master's. I was getting ready to work on my doctorate, but my late husband got sick. And I had to put him first, because that's my better half. No way I'm going to start looking in books when I need to look at the person who has been there for me, encouraging me and inspiring me. And my late husband was a pastor of 32 plus years. So I know how it feels to want to do something, but your past keeps nudging you and trying to make you stay there. And that's something that my late husband said to me all the time. Hey, keep this in mind as you go through life. Where you are is always trying to keep you where you are. I say this to you. Where you are is always trying to keep you where you are. But don't you let it. Don't you let it. I don't care what nobody say. Don't you let it. I don't care how they talk about you. I don't care how they try to put you down. I don't care how they reject you. I don't care how they try to manipulate you. I don't care how they frustrate you. Don't you never, never, never let where you are keep you where you are. That's a fact. You deserve so much. So much. And don't you never forget that. Your past is your past. And even when you reflect on it, that's a part of your history. You can't erase history. But don't you just stay there. Because I can think back on some things and I say, Lord, I thank you. Today, I thank you for delivering me. I didn't understand it then, but I do now. I had to fail to get up and try again. There's some things in life I had to fail at. And if I hadn't failed, I would have kept doing it the same way. Sometimes you have a failed relationship, but you got to get up and keep going. It didn't work out for whatever the reason. You forgive that person. You forgive yourself. Don't look at all the negative, because it was good things that happened in that period that you was with that individual. It was some good things there. It was some laughter. It was also some tears. But you forgive, get up, keep moving. I was able to raise my daughter. My daughter got her master's. She went all the way up to her master's. See, when people was calling me a failure because I was a single mother, and I don't know how many of you have been single mothers or today are single mothers. I'm saying this to you. That child that people talked about because you a single parent raising, let me tell you, God will bless that child. God will take your child to levels that you never even dreamed of. And God will make your child, that child that people tried to talk about and put down, turn it into a success and a testimony. Don't you never be ashamed of yourself because you're a single parent. Never. And that's man or woman. Don't you never be ashamed of yourself for being a single parent. Because single parents can do a whole lot. We just have to stay positive, stay focused, stay inspired, encouraged, and have the right people surrounding us in our circle. All them negative people, ask God to move them. They are not worthy of being in your life. Wish them well, but God, please move them. They no benefit to me. They only hurting me. And I got enough to deal with. I'm the only one think I can't make it because I'm listening to the wrong people. Get these people out your life that's not doing you any good. And I'm not saying being dramatic about it. What I'm saying, you pray that God move them. You ask God to prosper them. Because he said that he let us know that weapons was going to be formed against us, but they won't prosper. There are weapons formed against you, but they won't prosper. The same thing that they laughing at you about today, and they got a group of people helping them to laugh at you, to put you down, to continue to talk about you. You be the circle of their conversation. Watch God. He gonna shut that down too. He gonna shut that down too. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna get off. I never forget working with a family during a time when their daughter was murdered. And I looked in the eyes of that mother, and you could just see the pain of that mother. And her husband, they trying to hold on as tight as they can to one another. And she said, I can't even talk. I don't know what to say. And I said to her, that's why I'm here. I'm going to talk because you can't talk. You don't have the energy, the strength. Sometimes you got to be the one to step in the gap for people. Sometimes you got to be people's voice to say what they can't say. Because their pain is so deep. Don't take advantage of people's pain. Don't do that. And I'm telling you, if you ever had an opportunity to work with parents of murdered children, it would change your life forever. Because they're hurt. They're lonely. Because they've lost someone, their child. And all they have is memories left. That's all they have. And I thank God for my testimony. I thank God for those things I went through. All of the failures, all of the walkouts, all of the rejections. I thank God. because I never would have been able to grow into the person that he allowed me to become. And that's just not for you. That's not only for me, that's for you too. Thank God for your failures. Your failures caused you to grow. Let them talk. Whatever your gifts are, whatever people got going on against you, let them talk. Because God is trying to use you for a purpose. But you can't get there focusing on negative. You can't get there chained with unforgiveness. Only way you're going to get there is by loving them anyway. Even when they despitefully misuse you. Love them anyway. Because that God that you and I serve, he real. He is so real. And he will take care. Y'all have a wonderful day. I'm getting ready to get down to this school. We got some registration going on today. Woo, fall semester is coming. So guess what? We got to get these young people in school and help them continue in their college careers. Y'all have a blessed day. Stop looking in that rearview mirror. Drive that car forward. And that way you won't crash. Okay? Bye-bye.